A middle-aged government official awakens in the body of a teenage villainess in an otome game. He decides to use all his knowledge to navigate the story as best he can. A man is hit by a truck, and upon waking, he finds himself in the body of a young woman named Grace Auvergne, daughter of Duke Auvergne, who has gained memories after falling from a horse. The world he has entered is an otome game world, filled with handsome men for romantic encounters. The last thing he remembers is trying to save a child from being run over before awakening in this body. He realizes this is one of those reincarnation cases but doesn't understand why he, Kenzaburo Tondabayashi, a 52-year-old government official, reincarnated as the villainess of an otome game. Though he has enough otaku knowledge to grasp fantasy world reincarnation, he knows nothing about otome games. Living in this new world will be a real challenge. His maid, Josette, knocks on the door to deliver his clothes. He thanks her, frightening the girl, who hits her head and flees the room terrified. He realizes he scared the poor girl. From Grace's memories, he knows she was quite cruel, not only yelling at her servants, but never expressing gratitude to anyone. He brushes it off, focusing instead on his concern. With such a personality, Grace was clearly destined to be the great villainess of this world. Kenzaburo remembers his daughter, Hinako, playing this game in the living room. It was called Magic Academy, Love and Beast. Just seeing the cover filled with handsome boys was enough to recognize it as an otome game. The fact that his daughter played it openly confirmed her otaku nature. Hinako proudly admitted it, and when Kenzaburo asked about the blonde girl on the screen, she explained that she was the villainess who always caused trouble for the protagonist. Based on what he saw that day, along with Grace's knowledge, Kenzaburo figures out which game he's trapped in. He's about to start attending the Magic Academy as the villainess, and naturally, the protagonist must also be there. The girl walking through the door with a hopeful smile until she clumsily trips is the game's protagonist, Anna Doll, the kind-hearted yet clumsy character meant to earn the player's empathy. Hinako had explained that despite everything, Anna was excited to start school, but was stopped by Grace, who was annoyed that a commoner like Anna was attending a noble academy. Grace made Anna feel inferior and insulted her family, driving Anna to study harder to prove she deserved a place at the academy. Kenzaburo confronts Anna. The other students eagerly await the encounter. Grace acknowledges Anna's top exam score but reminds her that the academy is for nobles. However, since Anna managed to gain entry, Grace unexpectedly congratulates her parents on their excellent education, letting his paternal feelings slip despite his role as the villainess. Anna cries, feeling honored by Grace's words, though the onlookers assume Grace must have said something deeply offensive. Under pressure from the crowd, Grace takes Anna aside to calm her down. Anna apologizes for her emotional outburst. Grace understands, but warns her that such behavior isn't well regarded at the academy. Anna explains her family's financial struggles, sharing how her parents began saving for her education when they discovered her magical aptitude. So when a noble praised them, she couldn't hold back her emotions. Grace tells her to make the most of the opportunity her parents have given her. Anna agrees and decides to work hard to get a good job and provide a better life for her parents. Grace thinks it's a good idea, but advises her to focus on developing her skills to achieve great accomplishments and build a happy life for herself, since that's what every parent wants for their children. Anna breaks down again and agrees. Grace reassures her and asks her to tidy up for the entrance ceremony. A handsome boy approaches and teasingly asks Grace if she's already making others cry. Kenzaburo recognizes him from Grace's memories as one of the protagonist's possible love interests, the Prince of the Kingdom and her fiancé, but for some reason he cannot remember his name. Grace tells the prince not to spread falsehoods and clarifies that Anna is just her new friend. Kenzaburo tries to recall the name, but after learning so many throughout his life, it becomes difficult to pinpoint the correct one. Anna introduces herself to the prince, and Kenzaburo plans to use this moment to hear the prince reveal his name. The prince immediately recognizes Anna, having heard about her remarkable entrance exam achievements, and congratulates her for it. Kenzaburo eagerly waits for the prince to introduce himself, but remembers the etiquette rule stating that nobles of high society do not present themselves. Therefore, Grace must introduce him to avoid raising suspicion. Thinking quickly, he introduces himself to Anna and, when presenting the prince, asks her to guess his name, hinting that he is the first prince of the kingdom. Anna is surprised to discover that the boy is Prince Virgil. Kenzaburo finally managed to recall the correct name. The prince bids farewell and heads to the ceremony. Kenzaburo remembers his daughter mentioning that after Grace's first encounter with Anna, Anna would usually cry alone, only to be comforted by the prince, sparking the beginning of their romantic storyline. Grace asks Anna what she thinks of the prince, but Anna dismisses it, mentioning he's pleasant enough. What truly matters to her is becoming friends with Grace. Unsure of what to do, Kenzaburo simply accepts her friendship. He worries whether the game's storyline has been altered. As Grace and Anna walk through the academy hallways, they encounter the director, who warmly welcomes them. Kenzaburo isn't sure of the director's name, but navigates the situation smoothly by referring to him simply as Director. With a courteous bow, he expresses gratitude for his support. Every move Kenzaburo makes is naturally mirrored by Grace, adopting the graceful demeanor of a high-class lady. This behavior earns her recognition as the Academy's new student representative at the entrance ceremony. In class, the teacher introduces spellbooks and explains their functions. Kenzaburo realizes that the story is unfolding just as it did at the beginning of the game. Excited about studying magic, he observes Anna sitting beside him, brimming with enthusiasm for the new lessons. Despite being the protagonist, Anna has become attached to the villainess. Anna chatters excitedly about the spellbook, prompting Grace to ask her to save her celebrations for later and remain silent in class. Embarrassed, Anna apologizes for her lack of self-control. Kenzaburo knows his words sounded villainous, but is determined to play his role. Unbeknownst to him, Anna admires her new friend, convinced Grace is helping her overcome the shortcomings of her plebeian upbringing. Determined to observe and learn, Anna strives to behave properly at the academy to avoid embarrassing Grace. Noting Grace's intense focus on the teacher and her textbook, Anna becomes even more motivated. Meanwhile, Kenzaburo revels in his newfound youthful eyesight, finding pleasure in reading without strain. Inspired by Grace's dedication, Anna's motivation parameters soar within the game's system. After handing out textbooks, the teacher announces the day's most important task. A cabinet walks into the room. The teacher instructs them to retrieve an item by stating their name. When the doors open, several eggs are revealed inside. Meanwhile, a handsome student named Auguste knocks on the classroom door where Virgil is. When Virgil reprimands him for not knocking before entering, Auguste dismisses the scolding and jokes about relaxing now that the entrance ceremony is over. Auguste asks if Virgil has spotted any promising student council candidates among the new students. Virgil mentions Anadol for her top entrance exam score and Grace Averny due to her status and accomplishments. August remains skeptical of Grace, doubting her ability to work well with a commoner like Anna given her reputed strong personality. Virgil agrees but observes that Grace seems to have changed recently, piquing his interest in seeing how things unfold. The girls arrive at the dining hall, where a variety of dishes await them. Anna cannot believe they are allowed to eat as much as they want and wishes she could take some home to share with her family. Grace reminds her that this is still a school, so the dining hall is just another classroom where they must practice proper table manners during meals. Kenzaburo silently praises himself for crafting such a villainous line, though it only heightens Anna's admiration for Grace. Suddenly, a commotion breaks out in the dining hall as a group of girls scolds a server for not bringing their food to the table. The server explains that school policy prohibits servants from assisting, as students are meant to learn self-sufficiency in everyday tasks. Observing the situation, Kenzaburo reflects on how the wealthy behave in this world, but concludes that such behavior resembles spoiled brats rather than a dignified villain. That's not the image he wants for his version of Grace. He calmly walks to the food counter, selects a modest but well-prepared plate of food, places it elegantly on his tray, and carries it back to the table. The server is pleased to see that the Duke's daughter respects the rules, while the spoiled girls glare at her in frustration. Grace and Anna express their gratitude for the meal and begin eating, finding the food to be delicious. The embarrassed girls eventually get up to prepare their own plates. Kenzaburo finds the abundance of food unrealistic for the game's story, but remains convinced that the people in this world are real and should be treated with proper respect. Despite being a humble worker with basic etiquette skills, he knows he must finish his meal, return his plate, and thank the chef. Grace stands, hands her tray to the server, and politely asks him to convey her gratitude to the chef for the excellent meal. Seeing this, the spoiled girls aspire to imitate her, and soon thanking the chef becomes a tradition at the school.